What I've noticed just in looking into it since talking with you, any national promotion you look at right now, you see somebody with a direct connection to the Las Vegas market. I've got on a John Moxley shirt here. He's the current undisputed AEW champion. Then, if you go over to Impact, you have the Ultimate Finesser, Dashing Chris Bay, who's in the Bullet Club now and is a former X Division champion. Karrion Kross is lighting it up in the WWE after, you know, unjustifiably probably getting set aside after they decided to take him and put him in a red gladiator helmet. But now he's getting a chance to be the guy he was in FSW. How do you see that continuing on? Maybe with current FSW champion Alexander Hammerstone, he seems like the next guy ready to break out.
You certainly would think so, but he's really committed to MLW. Hammerstone is his own man. He is his own man. He's not trying to fit any kind of mold. He doesn't really want to. I think he wants to build MLW. That's from what I've gathered from uh, brief conversations with him or stuff
Mm-hmm.
he's posted on social media. I think he's in it with them for the long haul. I think he wants to be the face of the franchise and not go somewhere else and just possibly be another big guy in the mix. He's way too
Yeah.
talented for that, and he's capable of carrying the team, and he's certainly proven that with MLW.
So a little bit more like recently, like Nick Aldis did with the NWA, where Nick Aldis really single-handedly, I think, along with Billy Corgan, the Smashing Pumpkins lead singer, brought that promotion back to prominence. They're finishing up their two-night pay-per-view in St. Louis today, and he was the guy who really dragged him out of nothing. And MLW was shut down for decades, so Hammerstone could be huge in bringing that back. And I know they got national TV. They're on BN Sports, and they've been on and off Vice TV. Besides Hammerstone, who has the top title in FSW, who are some of the other stars, men or women, that you feel are on the verge, and if for no other reason than if you watch FSW on their network or on Fight TV, somebody that you would want to know about when you tune in?
Well, even whether you're watching FSW versus Pride Style, Grab House, any of the companies in Vegas, as far as Sandra Moon is really one of the standouts here. Gregory Sharp, he's been he wrestles all over Vegas. He's been in FSW for a good 10 or 12 years. Uh, he's really breaking out. Um, those two, Jay Vidal. Well, Jay Vidal just moved, but he was here for a long time. Matt Vandegrift, he's he's definitely up there. He's gotten some looks. He's done AEW Dark. Gregory Sharp did AEW Dark. Sandra Moon did AEW Dark. Those three. But then, of course, you got guys a little further down in the mix. I mean, even Papa Yase, who's been around a long time, but he's had a rebirth over the last year and a half and has done some really good stuff. I'd like to see his opposition improve, and it is because he's working outside of the city more and doing really well. So there's guys that's kind of the top of the group right now as far as who could be next. I don't know outside of who I named. I don't know if there's tag teams. I think Lights Camera Faction, Ice Worms. I mean, there's several good 5 to 10 that I think are on the verge, but I don't know if they're necessarily next, so to speak. If
Okay.
that does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I don't. When Chris Bay signed with Impact, it was like the worst kept secret until he did, and it was like we knew he was going to be going. It was all there. You could see it. Same with Sefa Fatu when Sefa went to NXT. Now, granted, name recognition, obviously, but we knew it was coming. I don't know if anybody has quite stepped into that window yet, or that gap. Like, oh, this is the guy. Like you kind of feel it with Vandegrift, you feel it with Gregory Ship, you feel it with Sandermoo, but not like you did with like guys like Cross and Bay and Sefa or Solo Sikoa.
And just to give a reference, Soloskoa, part of the family, the bloodline from the WWE, the Samoans, The Rock, Roman Reigns, the Usos, all the same extended family. So yeah, obviously some connections there. Now, what about this then? How long do you feel it takes somebody? You're starting out at the school. You're getting going. FSW, a higher end independent promotion, obviously. I mean, you're on national TV, so you're moving up the ladder a little bit. How long does it take to get somebody going to where they are comfortable, they are ready, they're a legitimate player, a major league player. You can see it. You can see the connections. You can see the moves coming together, the personality. Is it something that you see day and night, or to some people it takes 5, maybe 10 years to get comfortable?
It's really just depends on the talent. I mean, I'll use Chris Bay again as an example. When he won the FSW belt, my first thought was too early, too early, and that was the night he won it. I thought he
Mm-hmm.
was great. I was happy for him, but I thought it was a little bit early. The next time I saw him on a high octane show, probably a week or two later, he came out with the belt, and my whole opinion changed. He looked like a different person with the belt. It made sense all of a sudden. It was like, oh my gosh, yes. I mean, just the way he carried himself. So some guys, some talent gets it quick. You see it early, you go, oh, this person is going to make a move. They're going to do some stuff. You'll see it, and then you'll see the company believes in them because they'll start getting wins maybe sooner than other people do who just keep, who are just still in the losing zone. It really just depends, and it depends on how hard they work. I mean, if they put the work in, it comes together quicker. It's you'll ask about certain talent, you'll hear, well, they don't train enough, and you're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, okay, well, that makes sense then, because it's really just a matter of how much work they really want to put into it. Because even if the company you're working for doesn't, push you, there's other companies that can see you. Like the sky's the limit. Like I was saying, there's 5 in Las Vegas. So if maybe Joe in FSW doesn't like you yet, maybe you're ready for him yet. But there's other places that you can get your reps. And so I just think the more work you put in, the faster you're going to pick it up. But again, it just depends. And another thing too is it depends on what your character is. I mean, you can have ebbs and flows just because of, you may decide to go a direction with try something different with a gimmick, and it doesn't work, and you spend 2 years trying to make this silly gimmick work, and it holds you back. But then you try something new, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, Gregory Sharp. I mean, Hyper Streak was fun. People really liked him. That's who he was before. He had a mask, came out, he ran real fast. Everybody dug him. He was. But when he turned heel, he really committed to being a heel, and he's exploded since he turned heel. He's just it's a different person. And so really that type of stuff can play a role too. I think it was a long answer to your question, but I think there's multiple factors.
Yeah, you can definitely see that with Gregory Sharp. His match at the Survival of the Fittest, first time I'd seen him wrestle in a long time, and the guy just he owns the ring. I mean, he has much more of that. Really, more of like a Moxley, old Seth Rollins kind of anti-hero feel to him too. Like he doesn't care. I'm just going to go. I'm going to take the guy out. It's a different attitude, and something that really kind of jumped out, and you can tell the guy's got a commanding presence, which is a huge part of it. Now, besides that, you did mention tag teams. I know the one tag team that looks like they're getting pretty prominent is Sky High. I liked their entrance. They had the bomber jacket going, and looks like they had a really young guy with them, Bodie, the young prodigy. I mean, he looks like he's like 15 or 16 years old.
Mm. He's 15,
Okay.
and he's I believe he started in the FSW has a kids class as well, and several notable Vegas talents that started there. Lazarus started there, Jody the wrestler, Sandra Moon started there. and so did Bodie. And I think he was 8 when he started in the kids class. Now, obviously, he wasn't working Remy Marcel when he was 8,
Hmm.
but he just picked it up quick. He did a kids show a few years ago. He came out as a referee and he turned heel, and you just could see it. I mean, the kid commanded the microphone. He just believed he belonged there. And now at 15, I mean, he's had some pretty big matches. He gets Starboy Charlie at Grap House. I believe it's Grap House, September 9th. Another young talent from Southern California. So Bodie's doing some really good things. Sky High is doing well. They've had their ebbs and flows this year. They've had some, but overall they've been really good. I think TBD and FSW, they're the FSW Tag Team Champions, Shogun and Hero. Those two guys are super talented. Kind of an interesting story on how they got started. They did a Halloween match um, as Justin Bradshaw and Ron Simmons, the Acolytes. They did the
Yeah, yes,
Acolytes on
yes.
Halloween, and people were like, "These two have never teamed up before." They were really good friends, so they did it as a Halloween thing, and it just. And then during in 2020, Kenny King obviously was never coming in, so there were some shows here and there at FSW, and Hero was teaming with Shogun. So Shogun had one half of the tag titles because Kenny King was the other half. So I didn't explain that. And so Kenny King was unable to wrestle, obviously, but sometimes so Hero was teaming with Shogun, and then once Shogun and Kenny dropped the belts, those two teamed permanently and have been really dominant, especially this year. Lights, Camera, Faction, in particular Fresco Matic and Watson. Those two have been great this year. They're having a big feud in FSW right now. But the tag team division's kind of on its way up. I mean, we've this year's been really kind of trying to find the right teams. I mean, there's really been finding teams that are working more than 2 or 3 times has been tough this year. And Los Suavecitos, I should make sure I mention them as well. I think there's some teams kind of, coming up, some from out of state. Final Destination's done good things here. But the tag division is really the one area we're working on it, but it's not quite where it needs to be yet, if that makes sense.
No, good information. And you can obviously get more information and more of a rundown on all of the different people that we're talking about on the website. You can find the reviews of their last cards. You can also get the rankings breakdowns, and there's a lot of people to talk about. It really is a unique atmosphere. I mean, in comparison, here one of the larger regional promotions, Central States Wrestling, they do one show a month, and they're working hard. They had a record crowd last night. Actually, they drew almost 500 people to the Camelot Ballroom in Overland Park. So they're getting it going, but it's hard to get going and to create that perception, and then also to get the exposure so people find out a little bit more about you, because a large part of following the wrestling matches is following the story. Hey, why are these guys wrestling? Why is this lady angry with this lady? What's the background? And that's something that the site can actually help you with.
Yeah, I mean, you were talking about the reviews. We do recaps for the shows. We do match by match recaps, like I was saying, live. Um, I don't like to write off of the stream or anything like that. I prefer to be there, and I just think it's more honest that way. And I think that's what I really think sets us apart is like we are in the scene. We're not just standing on the outside writing stuff. We're involved. We know what's happening. We know the people involved. We know the promotions involved. Um, and so it's that's really what I think sets us apart. I mean, they outside companies come out and they reach out to us sometimes to find out things. So it's try to be not just because it's not about us. It's about helping the talent and the companies in the city that are trying to grow and helping the community to where solid quality entertainment is provided. People come out and enjoy it. Like that's our role as Las Vegas Wrestling Scene.com. It's not to be, celebrities or anything like that. It's and that's what we've tried to capture is just to make it about everybody else and just put out really good content, different stuff that they can find. I mean, it's nice that you can, if you miss a show, you can, hopefully wake up by noon the next day, hopefully, and read the recap from the show and see what happens. and or on Instagram and watch the videos from the show the night before, or check out the photos, wherever you do your social media. So that's where what we've tried to do is just kind of be everywhere and provide stuff for all different audiences wherever you like to consume it.
Great. Now, just to go ahead and get in a little bit more on the website, can people? What's the best way for people to put their comments in to suggest or find out about certain wrestlers? Would it be to just comment on the social media post? Is there a way to reach out to you from the website directly?
Our all our DMs are open. So if you want to, at least you can reach us DM Twitter, lots or Instagram, Facebook. Doesn't matter. If people know me personally, they can message me there. Uh, Wherever, it doesn't make any difference. If you comment, we'll respond. Um, we're pretty transparent, so they can reach us anywhere, any social media platform really, except TikTok. TikTok, we're not on TikTok yet.
Okay.
Maybe.
Well, we'll have to get that going too. Um, Now, I know there is another company that is coming in Las Vegas really soon, doing a show, New Japan Wrestling, who's making their move into the U.S. again. I know they've been running New Japan Strong out of California, and now it looks like they're going to do a house show in Las Vegas. Have some AEW talent there too, including the currently suspended Eddie Kingston. It looks like he's going to be on the card.
Yeah, NJPW Strong is great. Chris Bay wrestles with them. Former FSW Tag Team Champions, now known as the West Coast Wrecking Crew. They were 1% here. They're on NJPW Strong, so hopefully they'll be back. That's Sunday, September 11th, Samstown Live. I'm excited to have them, and that's what I was talking about with 2022. I mean, we've had a lot of different companies that are really putting their feet in now. Like they see Las Vegas as a legitimate wrestling town. We're not a stopover town like we were 100 years ago. We're not in the city in between the two major cities. We have a major airport. We have NFL. We have hockey. There's lots of cool things to do when you're here. So it's good to see companies like New Japan come here. Who knows? Maybe if the actual the parent company New Japan has another U.S. tour, maybe they'll find Vegas as a destination, and that would be really cool.